Set 4195. Queen Anne's Revenge. Blackbeard's overly expensive ship from Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides. Check out the other video I did on that movie. This is my journey of trying to get this set for under $500. The first step is to part out the set on Bricklink and see what pieces I already have. It was a good chunk of the generic pieces, but going by Bricklink, it still would have been hundreds of dollars to get the rest, since this set has an absurd amount of unique pieces. Step 2 is to comb through the remaining pieces and see if there are any super expensive ones that can either be avoided or swapped out. I decided to nix the flag since it was $20 at the cheapest. I could put on a substitute or maybe just make one myself. I also took out the little Jack statue because although it's a great piece, it also goes for over $20 and has nothing to do with the structural integrity or visual design of the ship. I changed a surprisingly expensive new gray turntable with an old gray turntable. I swapped some 2x2x3 black bricks out with a couple stacks of 3 2x2 bricks. They weren't expensive, but now there are less parts to look for. A secondary wish list is made on Bricklink and includes pieces that are no longer required, but if future sellers have them, the option will be seen. The most expensive pieces I was still missing were the sails and all the hull pieces of the boat. Both of these sets are usually well over $100, especially if you have to get them from different sellers, which adds up shipping prices. I moseyed on over to eBay and found someone selling all 9 sails in fairly good condition. I made an offer I could afford, which they accepted, and now we're at $58 and past the point of no return. Whilst on eBay, I stumbled across a store that sells replacement stickers and cloth for LEGO sets. Although no QAR sales were found, they did have a sticker sheet for this set, which was on sale at the time. So now I didn't have to worry about tracking down pre-stickered pieces or a redonkulously high-priced sticker sheet. Next big issue was the hull pieces. Bricklink was once again suggesting I get them from multiple sellers, but we all know about the financial responsibility of Bricklink's Easy Buy feature. It's bad. I manually found a seller who had all the pieces for fairly cheap, along with some other random pieces I needed, so I placed the order. Now the hardest part was over. The most expensive and unique pieces were out of the way, so I thought. It was time to find the most expensive pieces left and look at all the cheapest Bricklink sellers who had them. The top of that list were the 2 black riggings. So I sent a Bricklink search for those sellers in the US who had at least 2 of them, and who should I see at the top of the list but my good friends Mr. and Mrs. Brickhead. I always like an excuse to take the drive out there, and they also had the majority of what I still needed, including the masthead, which I was on the fence about since because of the unique torso, it's hard to find for less than $20, but it's also the masthead. It would be like building a Jeep without the signature grille, or a Santa Claus without a beard, or a live-action Disney remake without race-swapping characters. So I bit the bullet and picked that up too. The bullet was made easier to bite from the fact that I had a gift card from that store I'd been sitting on for a while. Oh, come on, I hear you say. You can't subtract gift cards from the final price. Sure I can. Part of the strategy is going to places there are gift cards lying around for. They were also kind enough to help me find some of the other random pieces I needed, and one of their employees pieced together the Quartermaster zombie for me. It ended up being about $30 after the gift card. After another chunk of inventory was taken care of, I rechecked Easy Buy for the rest, but was still surprised to see a more than one amount of stores. After looking at prices on the remaining pieces, the reddish-brown 7-long Technic axles only came in this set, which makes sense because every piece in this set only came in this set. I decided to switch the color to black to save money, only to realize that that color is even more rare. Next closest color would be light bluish gray, not as subtle, but certainly more price efficient. At least they are accessible enough in the model that I can swap them to the brown ones if I ever come across them in the future. As far as the minifigs, I already had a few, and I got the Quartermaster zombie at Brickheads, which left the Cook and Angelica. Angelica was laughably expensive, mostly due to the feather in her hat, and the Cook was just a meh fig, although he did have a great part in the movie.
Which of you unfortunate souls stood watch? The Cook. Perfect.
Honestly, I don't really care about either of them. I already have the important figs, plus the main goal is the ship. My final road trip was to Andy's Brick Shart. I had a cart at a Bricklink store that included all the other pieces I still needed to get lower than average prices, if Andy didn't have them in stock. Unfortunately, before I even went to Andy's, I was hit by one of the saddest anime plot twists in history when someone else bought all the pieces I'd saved. Not cool, other buyer. I'm trying to make a video here. I made it to Andy's, did some sorting for him, and found some more pieces. No flag, but since I no longer had a backup plan for it, I had to get a placeholder, so until I buy or make the correct flag, Blackbeard is Asian. Andy's employee Jordan found some of the brown bars, the rest of the masts, and a few more of the remaining pieces I needed. It would have been a couple more dollars here, but since Andy's such an awesome guy, he charged me $0 here. Just a firm handshake and the secret to eternal life. After that, it was basically complete. I needed a couple more pieces, which I added throughout a couple Bricklink orders that were primarily for other things, so I won't include the shipping on those two. It was ready to build now, although the incorrect flag was bothering me. Then I got an idea. I've bought 2 large sets off AliExpress in the past. One was complete and fantastic quality, the other was nowhere near complete and terrible quality. It's always a bit of a gamble, but all I needed was the flag. Plus, if the rest was complete, I could sell it and make the money back. If it worked out, the literal payoff would make it worth it. It took exactly 1 month to arrive, and now I just had to hope it had the flag. It seemed well organized enough, and I recognized the pieces, which was a good sign, but no flag yet. The figs were questionable, as knockoff figs usually are, but there actually was a printed instruction manual. No flag yet. Maybe it was packed inside the sails. Aha! There she is, in all of her half of her glory. Good enough. It also came with 1 voodoo statue. Cool. Now the color sorting and building can finally begin. This was certainly one of the most exciting builds after all the work that was put in to keep the price down on a set that came out well over a decade ago that was even expensive back then. I actually got a couple other pirate ships throughout the process, which I'll build another time, but for now, I finally have a... What? Now that I figured out which box was which, I color sorted again and had some friends over so we could build the real version alongside the China version. We got about halfway through, then I realized I lost the stickers I had bought from eBay. This time I decided to print my own, bringing the total down a little bit. After selling the AliExpress version, minus 1 flag and 1 voodoo statue, for $60, there it is! A 100-ish% complete Queen Anne's Revenge. The total amount of money I put in was $142. Still more than my usual limit on Legos, but spread that out over 3 months for a set that averages almost $500 used, and that isn't too bad. Tune in next week to see how I got an in-the-box, brand new, pristine version of the Black Pearl for $100. I bought it in 2011. That's how. Huge thank you to Brickheads and Lidditz for helping out with some of the harder to find pieces and also having great prices on their Bricklink and physical stores. Not sponsored. Also, huge thanks to Andy for letting me barge into his store while he's trying to prepare his upcoming Bricklink store reopening and snag a bunch of parts. Not sponsored. Thanks to Hurricane Henry and Tornado Tommy for helping with the build. Not sponsored. And thanks to everyone who watches these videos. I do enjoy making them, even if I'm not sponsored.